Let's see. Probably... we'll just continue with Jing Yin's trip. She's got some troubled things going on. So we have to head off to Tianshui City. There's like a new country that just popped up overnight, which is very interesting. Very once in a lifetime kind of thing, right? You're like one day you're sleeping and you're like living your life, and then the next day it's a totally different place. It'll be quite concerning.
记忆未必为真，幻想未必为虚。
Memories are not always real, but fancies are not always fake. That's a astute observation. Is it like you fake it till you make it? Yeah. Alright, we're heading to the big city. Here is Tianshui City, the glamorous, the shining, the sparkling city of... I don't know what kind of city this is. When the escorts are marveling at the lofty and magnificent walls, you only stand by the carriage and look up. The appearance of Longyuan emerges in your mind again. The imaginary city of Longyuan versus the real city of Tianshui. For some unknown reason, you feel the profiles of the two cities merge into one. A surprising resemblance. Nah, it wouldn't be possible. Longyuan City is only an illusion in the depth of your mind. How can it be the same with the Huasha capital where power and glory converge? The king's messenger has appeared. The guards report your arrival, and the fine-robed royal messenger came to you. However, you are dazed by the thought and fail to pay him a deferential greeting. Oop. I got my resting bitch face. Now I'm gonna get in trouble, I guess. The messenger looks at you in a flagrant scorn upon your hurried bow. It's like, sorry, I'm bowing right now. In his eyes, you are but a showy and boring gift sent by the eastern barbarians from a distant land. Oh, I'm a barbaric lady, princess. Nice to know. You present him with your documents. He looks over them casually and nods without emotion. Then he gazes at you with squinted eyes, as if he is implying something. Wow, I literally have resting bitch face, and this is what happens. How dare such a petite messenger act so arrogant? A voice suddenly begins to speak in your mind. The man's face is even more nasty, and an idea takes over your thoughts. No one shall despise you. Oh, wait, this is the inner voice, yeah? The inner critic, like the devil on their shoulder saying, hey, you're getting disrespected. You know what it's time to do? It's time to throw a tantrum. That's totally the best idea. Power begins to converge in your limbs as ancient Qingchu spells spark on your fingertips. It is the all too familiar feeling. The being that is dwelling in you is trying to control your mind again. I mean, yeah, I don't... Oh my god. We need 2 phoenixes to pass this roll if we want to keep this inner beast under control. Well, we failed the roll. Okay. You let the being unleash its power and relax. The emerging mood just now soon spreads like wildfire, growing into a hellish flame burning with blood and hatred. The messenger seems to have perceived something. He looks down at you, but in an instant his face twists in a gruesome shadow. His eyes widen and his pupils shrink in front of the utter horror, and his legs begin to tremble. A slight intimidation will do. Oh wait, it's the voice. You hear the familiar voice in this subtle moment, and the fierce impulse fades away. You will need me in the future. Oh, my dear Eastern guests, pardon me for any offense. The messenger becomes much more modest as you regain control of your body. Your documents are valid and effective. Now, please follow me into the palace. Oh, okay. So I guess the roll didn't succeed, but nothing bad happened. It looks like Jing Yin has gained some self-control after going through many trials, and now, well, I don't know how long this control will last, so we'll see. The carriage rolls on the stone slabs of the Royal Avenue with crisp sounds, leaving the city gate and the vast wilderness behind. Your ears are filled by the noise from a bustling crowd, and under the sound of emotional ceremonial horns. Under the shadows of the majestic mansions, a totally unfamiliar and unknown world reveals itself. Enter the palace. We're gonna make our way to the palace city. Oh yeah, I won the competition
虽
to
然
be
我
a
不是第一
bride.
次见，但也不妨碍陪你一起赞叹一下。啊哈，
Ah, yes, thank you for your opinion, Mr. Fisherman. This must be a nostalgic sight for you. I mean, it's new for me, so. The messenger leads you into the palace city. After passing many checkpoints, corridors, and palaces, the carriages finally stop before a guest house in the residential area. Though you have imagined what the palace would look like, you only witness its sumptuousness today with your own eyes. It reaches the stars and is located just under the Polaris, the North Star. Wealth and labor become its decoration of tassels, emeralds, brocades, and satins, impressing everyone with breathtaking greatness. Your heart beats fiercely as you think about your life here and even the day of being the owner of these mansions. You're looking forward to the future. Ah, yes, this lady's looking forward to being a landlady. You know, owning some property, renting it out, getting other people to pay your mortgage for you, you know, all that good stuff. Alright, you may rest here with other new ladies before your audience with the queen tomorrow. The messenger comes to your side and continues. Keep your eyes from looking around or observing those you shouldn't see, and don't stir troubles. No one would save you if you erred here. Sorry, I have terrible pronunciation. Anyway. You nod to him deferentially. Then you are arranged into a room in the guest house by the managing maidservant here. It will be a long while before it gets dark. What do you want to do? Well, let's see. Personally, I would probably just I would probably rest here early. I mean, we just traveled a long way. Why would I force myself to travel even more than I have to, you know? It's like, like, yeah. I mean, obviously, like, people are different. Some people want to explore more often. But, let's see. You remember the word from the messenger and decide not to go outside. You put your belongings in order and clean the room. Then you head to bed early. Perhaps you got tired on the long journey because your sleep was extremely peaceful. Ooh. Yay. Attention, some actions in the palace may lead to an insta-kill. Please remember to save your progress before making decisions. Wow. Okay, I guess I'll save, but... So we're already gonna have to deal with palace politics, and it's literally the first day. That sounds fun. They can't just leave these strangers alone, huh? Oh, wait. I think we had a good night's rest. Okay, so it's actually the next day. Never mind.
放空一切，睡到日上三竿，便是一种幸福了，不是吗？
Ah, yeah, sleeping in until noon. That is a... I mean, I've been doing that the past few days. I've been having trouble sleeping, to be honest. Like, I would stay up until, like, 3 or 4 a.m. Right, just because, I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's like, I don't know, right? I should probably try to get up in the morning, but it's hard because I don't know what to do in the morning, right? It's like everything I have to do has to happen at night. I don't know, maybe it's just habits, bad habits. I have to fix it to become I've never been a morning person. That's just the goddamn truth at this point, right? Maybe you're not accustomed to the unfamiliar bed, or you are too preoccupied by the audience with the queen. You wake up early this morning with a long yawn. It is a clear day, and you have plenty of time for making up and changing clothes. You get down from your bed and begin your preparations. As you walk out of your room, you find the whole guest house unusually quiet. It seems that the other ladies are all sleeping, and you shake your head at their carelessness. Then you leave the guest house to the central palace. You arrive at the central palace. After confirming your identity and reporting to the servants, you walk through the hall into the corridor. It is still early now, and even the queen has not yet arrived. To your surprise, a lady in a white robe is waiting here, the only person who reached here before you. Greetings, elder sister. She turns to you and speaks with a soft voice and an amicable smile. Seems that only we arrived on time. It's just the two of us, right? You are always proud of your beauty and believe your smile will conquer every ordinary man. However, you find an equally extraordinary air on the lady at first sight. She is not as tall as you, yet she is not short. Her stature is just at the point of alluring men to protect her and hold her in affectionate arms. Jealous? She is not as plump as you, yet she is not bony. Every turn on her curves is flawless, and every part, be it full or slender, is shaped perfectly. Her smile is not as lovely as yours, yet its purity exceeds yours. One may notice the innocence and the coyness at first sight, but a further inspection will reveal the tempting desire and madness hiding deeply behind. Good sister, you are so adorable! Seeing you are a bit dazed, she walks to you and reaches out to your hand. I've never seen a lady who's more beautiful than a fairy. Oh my god, is this like one of those like backhanded negging compliments? Or is it like a real compliment? Reply coldly. She arrived even earlier than you, which means she may also be a careful lady, different from the others. However, you are destined to be the opponents in your contest to win the king's favor. Though she seems to be warm-hearted indeed, she is actually a total stranger. Besides, you are not certain whether her action comes from good intentions. The audience will soon begin, and you don't want to get caught in uncertainties. Thank you for your praise. You smile politely, yet you step to a seat at the other side and sit down. In the central palace, no matter how beautiful we can be, we are only tiny stars surrounding our queen, the brightest moon. A slight surprise fleets in her eyes, but she replies to you as if nothing happened. Indeed, my good sister, I should be more careful with my words in such a place. She puts on a shy look afterward and retreats to her seat on the other side. Her behavior even makes you feel regret for declining such a warm-hearted girl out of sheer suspicion. Why are there only two? You two? An emotionless yet graceful voice. Wow, everyone here is emotionless. This is my time to shine, right? I gotta get an emotionless voice. Then you see the queen's face. As the spouse to the head of the state, her glances and words have the power to freeze any common palace lady. Though her voice is calm, you sense a slight anger in her tone. Hurried steps come from outside the corridor before you can explain. The other new ladies finally arrive here. You look at them and find that 8 or 9 are all panting with flushed cheeks, their hairpins and decorations disheveled. You even smell a slight sweaty odor amid the fragrance of cosmetic powders, and though it is faint, the odor is too embarrassing here. So, you are the being sent by the vassals, defenders, and counts? The queen looks at them with the coldest eyes. Her accent falls on the word being, revealing a hint of the unrestrainable fury under it. So are these all like semi-demi-humans or something? No, your majesty. They already kneel before the queen, trying their best to explain. No, we never get up late. It must be someone drugged our food. You are as worthless as flies here. The queen's voice is still cold. And you aren't worth the price of the drug, even if I sell all of you. I wonder who will be willing to make such a deal. They exchange a look and whisper briefly. Then they suddenly point at you two sitting on your seats. They are the only two who arrived here on time. They must have drugged us. Yes, it's impossible if all of us got up late at the same time. Please decide wisely, Your Majesty. Oh? The queen looks at you two emotionlessly. Su Daji from the Su family in Jizhou, and Jing Yin from the Qingqiu state in the east. Any explanation? Well, I guess it depends on whoever has the better... Well, if the queen is cold, we can let Su Daji reply, but it's also possible letting someone else get the first word would... You know, like, if you don't get the first word in, you might lose. But if Su Daji is a warm person who can calm down this cold queen, maybe it works. We'll see if we wait patiently. They are accusing you two, and she must explain if you stay silent. It's a good chance to see how the adorable Su Daji would deal with the condition. You think for a moment, and as expected, she begins to speak without any panic. Your Majesty, I only met the lady this morning, and we knew each other a few minutes before. Our talking was heard by the guards and the maidservants around, and I believe it would be evidence. She finishes her statement and looks at you, expecting a confirmation from the other lady. I, Jing Yin, can prove that she told the truth. You did not get involved in the plan from the beginning, and upon meeting your candid eyes, the queen knows the fact. I'm not doubting you. It's a casual question. The queen still speaks emotionlessly, yet her tone softens a lot. And your answer will be natural if you are not planning for it. The pitiful ladies are further panicked by the queen's words. They kneel down and press their foreheads to the ground, trying to explain for themselves. Any vacancy in the kitchen? The queen turns to the maidservant at her side. We need some pig breeders and manure carriers, Your Majesty, the girl answers deferentially. They will be competent. The queen sneers and gestures to her. Send them here. You hear a series of hurried imploration and cries. They are carefully picked by the vassals and external officials, and they must have been enjoying wealth and honor before. Maybe they are expecting the affluent life in the royal court, but they end up being new servants. Seeing Queen Zhang's indifferent face, you feel a slight sadness. Therefore, the scene of the new ladies displaying their skills to the queen never appeared as you thought. Since only 2 ladies meet her on time, Queen Jiang creates you beauties and arranges residences for you and Daji. I guess, okay, this translation's awkward. I think they meant Queen Jiang appoints you and Daji as beauties. To your surprise, the dwelling for you is Cloud Resort. You remember the elegant and quiet mansion and are much delighted. But you are still fearful after you recall the strange warm tea the last night and the odd incident this morning. Who would be the planner except for Su Daji? Her sweet smile and insidious actions are a grim warning. You must be more careful and vigilant against her. What? Okay, so we have a silk robe. That looks nice. I don't think it works for this character because I don't have a lot of buffs that I get from her. Right, the silk robe gives you +2 killing desire for every active buff you cast. But I don't have any skills that do that right now. Daji's chamber. Oh my god. Find a reliable close maidservant. Oh, that's my next quest. We can talk to this innocent girl. We're gonna abduct
昼
her.
更夜替，人心思变。信任是多么可贵的东西。
People's minds change like day and night, and that is why trust is valued highly. Well, since this is a palace drama now, we're gonna have to do some politicking, I guess? I don't know. I mean, I guess that's what's gonna happen. It has been several days since you moved into Cloud Resort, and you are now familiar with the rules in the palace. You are no longer the innocent newcomer, or at least no one can frame you again with a trick like the hairpin. What? The hairpin trick? That must have been like an idiom or something happened. I didn't get to experience it. I don't know. The queen provided maids for you the first day you came here, but none of them satisfy you. What you care about is not their capacities. You wouldn't be free from worries if the closest maid is arranged by someone else. Therefore, you would rather do everything yourself than keep an unknown person at your side. Maybe other ladies cannot imagine a life without servants, but you are accustomed to it. Back when you ran the clinic, you always did everything alone, and the condition and environment in the palace now are far better than before. Oh, interesting. So the clinic was not an illusion? Like, I thought the whole point was that being in the clinic was like fake. Like, it was just a dream. But things changed that night. You encounter the poor maidservant outside Daji's residence at night. She is covered in blood, yet she is crawling on the ground with all of her might. Her struggle reminds you of your past on another moonlit evening. When you were waiting for your end, helplessly under the severe blood loss, you were saved by a young Guqing player. And urged by an unknown impulse, you had sex with him. His actions were awkward, and you guessed it would be his precious first experience. Your heart beats quickly as you flush at the thought. But your attention is drawn back by the bloody smell of the next moment. You hurry to the heavily wounded maidservant and bring her back to Cloud Resort. You know her identity only after some days. She was not a maid who traveled with Daji. Instead, she was brought during Daji's journey and was arranged specifically for sinister plans. The impoverished girl had no choice but to help Daji. Yet soon, she found it impossible to get away. After several attempts to hide the drugs from Daji, she was finally spotted. Then, she suffered interrogations and cruel punishments and was deserted in the parterre after they found her dead. To everyone's surprise, she had not breathed her last at that time. Driven by the strong desire to live, the girl crawled out from the parterre and was saved by you. You change her name to C and keep her as a maidservant. She provides you much information on Daji in turn, which helps you to avoid many dangers. Okay. So, diagnose? Ooh, is that like a pun? That would be pretty funny. A diagnose in Shenong chamber. In Shenong's room, there is a turning point of fate. So, we have a new servant named Si. Si is probably the correct, some kind of Si. Okay, well, we'll go to this chamber. A diagnosis with this guy.
想要胜过别人，至少应该把握显而易见的机会。
You want to win against others? Be it a melodious voice or a stunning beauty, the traits that could make any woman extraordinary among others are all quite commonly seen for the palace ladies. The ladies here dress up themselves with the best decorations. What they really care about is not their appearance. It is the chance to get closer to the king. But to most of them, all they can do, except for casting a distant glance at him on royal banquets, is wait, hoping one day the king will pick them as bedmates by the mother's divine grace. And all that remains in their secluded lives are planning and waiting. Among those ladies, good seamstresses will make delicate nightgowns, and good bakers will prepare pastries. They will frequently send their handmade gifts to Tianshuan Palace as a flirtation with the noble yet unfamiliar man. Shuan? But whenever it comes to sewing or baking, you can only sigh helplessly. looking at your fingers pricked by needles and the burned dough discarded in the garden as fertilizers. So, you don't expect the first chance to be at the king's side to appear so soon. In my humble opinion, Beauty Sue's illness comes from her lungs. An elderly man near his 50s is speaking to the king with furrowed brows, his hands stroking his 3 strands of beard. There is heat in the lungs meridian, and it's proper to administer cold herbs. You've got your period recently, and given the cold weather these days, you decided to visit Shenong Chamber for herbs to nourish and warm your blood. However, upon arriving at the building, you find the king is also here, and the patient coughing painfully on the bed is Su Daji. You have not seen her for a long time. I'm not intentionally doubting you, Dr. Shen. The king is trying to speak calmly, yet his eyes shine with conspicuous anxiety. But her condition did not improve after she had 2 doses as you instructed. Rather, she has become short of breath. Well, the elderly man's voice becomes much diffident upon the king's words. Then maybe the lady's constitution is too cold, and the doses need more time to take effect. What do you mean by saying uncertain things? The King of Sui bursts into a fit of rage as he shouts, "Old Shen, I entreated you to cure her because I knew your reputation as a famous doctor. But if you failed, all I promised you would be nothing. I may as well take your life." What? Well, yeah, let's just behead the doctor for failing. It's totally a great idea. Let's just behead the most talented people. I mean, I get it for malpractice. People, you get punished harshly, but like, this is not malpractice, right? Anyway, Dr. Shen collapses as he hears this. He is kneeling low with his palms and his face is on the ground, drops of sweat running down from his forehead. Your Majesty, please don't be too preoccupied with... Oh, it's her voice. Oops. Your Majesty, please don't be too preoccupied with my illness, since your duty is far more important. Daji reaches out a fair hand into the king's palm. I'll take a brief rest here, and this will do, that will do. Our state needs your attention the most. She is interrupted by fierce coughs before she can finish the speech, and her hand slips down from the king's palm limply. The helplessness even enhances her beauty. Anyone seeing the feeble lady will feel deep sympathy for her, as well as an urge to hold her with firm hands to prevent her from being wronged. Daji! The King of Sui bends down to her and grasps her hands into his palms tightly. Nothing can be more important than you. Try your best to get well soon, and when you recover, I'll list you as one of the 9 mistresses. A hint of delight flashes by Daji's eyes. She tries to extend a grateful gesture, but another series of fierce coughs prevent her. It seems that she is indeed seriously ill. The King of Sui is even more disturbed by this. He turns to Dr. Shen with much displeasure. You have 3 days. I'll punish you if her condition does not improve. Dr. Shen nods hurriedly like a chicken pecking grains, his face pale as dust. The king heaves a faint sigh, and the next moment he notices you are holding a vessel outside the gate. Who are you? Are you her maidservant, taking the herbs for her here? Yes. Though you finally see the noblest man you've always dreamed of, you find it's not proper to present yourself to him when he is so preoccupied with Su Daji. So you nod to him and reply deferentially before leaving here. However, Daji won't let such a good chance slip. She speaks out your identity openly, and after noticing the king's doubtful look, she frames you by shifting the planner and the victim of her schemes. She frames you by shifting the planner and the victim of her schemes and concludes her false accusation with sorrowful tears. The king is totally convinced by the feeble and pale Daji. You are ranked only beauty now, and he is willing to revenge his loved concubine even by slashing you 1,000 times.
在死亡面前，希望却是
Wait, what?
如此不堪一击。
Okay, so I guess I'm dead. Interesting. So,
想要胜过别人，至少应该把握显而易见的机会。
okay. So that's the end, I guess. If you tell a lie, you get punished. So if I followed his words and pretended to be a maidservant, you would risk being exposed by Daji. I'm not sure. I don't really comprehend the logic of this, but okay. You shake your head and step forward with a graceful bow, presenting yourself with a sweet smile. The king's eyes are brightened by surprise. You cast a side glance at Daji, only to find her eyes are tightly closed and her brows furrowed slightly. Maybe she doesn't want to greet you now. You manage to draw the king's interest, yet Daji lets your talk continue without any action. It's not her style in your memory. Is it possible that she wants to hide from your sight, or is it her new trap? Bid goodbye since he has noticed you. Try to draw the king's attention further. I don't know. So if you leave, she's gonna whisper things to him? You believe Daji's silence is due to her hope of not drawing your attention at this moment. Therefore, you step gracefully forward and look at her with a feigned surprise. Why are you here, my good sister? Daji can only open her eyes and greet you with your words. The king also learns you are her friend who met each other just after you entered the palace, and his love for Daji even extends to you. You feel your choice is proven true by Daji's slightly embarrassed look. Now it's time to take advantage of it to gain more profit from the king. This would be pretty tone deaf if you talk about your days as newcomers. But also it's possible, like, she doesn't want to be ill. This is difficult. I mean, if you distract her, it would be better. You begin to talk about the days when you first entered the palace with feigned enthusiasm. However, the king only listens to you calmly without any response. You are not true friends, and all your efforts to continue the talk are ultimately wasted. You can only leave after you have exhausted possible topics. However, the king sensed the discord hidden under your feigned harmony from your talk, and since you were only a beauty, you were forgotten inevitably after the day. And you are forgotten among the ladies. Your name was never mentioned
在
again.
死亡面前，希望却是如此不堪一击。
Okay, I guess that's a failed. A failure. I mean, it's kind of interesting, right? I'm not really sure how you follow
想要胜过别人，
the
至少应该
writer's
把握显而
intention.
易见的机会。
Okay, so we have to tell the truth. Try to draw the king's attention further. We have to talk about Daji's illness. Your Majesty, it saddens me upon witnessing Daji's condition. You put on a sorrowful look and bow to the king. Fortunately, I was a physician back when I lived in Qingqiu. may I have the chance to diagnose her? Oh, you know how to treat patients, Beauty Jing. A surprised look flits by the king's face as he grins slightly. All right, I grant you the chance. Your Majesty. Oh, it's the old guy. Your Majesty, there has never been a doctoress in our Shenlong chamber since its opening a century ago. Besides, Beauty Jing is only a palace lady, and we don't know whether she really possesses such expertise. Dr. Shen frowns at your proposal as he hurries to persuade the king. I don't mind whether she is a doctoress or a palace lady. The king casts him a cold glance. And I believe that Beauty Jing will be no inferior to so-called famous doctors like you, since she dares to offer herself. With the king's approval, you get closer to the bed and take Daji's fair wrist to feel her pulse. Soon, you figure out the cause of her illness. Dr. Shen, may I know the herbs you've prescribed? Bamboo leaf soup. Bamboo leaf soup and cow bezoar paste. 2 doses per day. Dr. Shen gives an impatient response to your question. Interesting. I guess he would actually say this a lot faster, like more frustrated. The heat in her lungs led to coughs, and long-time coughs formed phlegm. I took those herbs to curb the heat and reduce the excessive saliva. Are you doubting my decision? Dr. Shen, please allow me to ask you further. Your brows begin to furrow upon hearing his words. Which meridian will the herbs you mentioned take effect in? Dr. Shen ponders for a moment and suddenly realizes something strange. In the heart meridian. You smile at his paled complexion. You said that the illness was caused by the heat in the lungs. I wonder, will it be cured by using herbs effective in the heart meridian? Nonsense! Dr. Shen flies into a rage as he points at you and yells, I've been a doctor for nearly 30 years, and I do not need you, a common woman, to teach me how to do it. How dare you! The king stands up suddenly, overwhelming Dr. Shen with the shadow of his majestic figure. I am still here. Have I allowed you to shout and scold others? Have you had enough of your life? No, I beg your pardon. Dr. Shen is terrified by the king's words as he kneels down. His knees thump on the ground. Beauty Jing, say whatever you want to say before me. The king turns to you with an earnest look. Tell me what caused her illness. Your Majesty, Daji's illness is due to the weakness in her lungs instead of heat. Besides, she was assaulted by cold evil, and that's the cause of her symptoms. You look into the king's eyes and continue confidently. To cure it, we should first enhance the lungs and then dispel the cold. And we must not prescribe cold medicines now, or the coughs caused by cold evil would be worsened. You pat gently on Daji, who just bursts into another series of coughs. Fortunately, the medicine only has a slight side effect. The medicine only took a slight effect. If I prescribe other herbs to her, she will recover in days. Great. King laughs and applauds. What you said is perfectly the same with her condition. Now, I allow you to treat her. And if your medicine cures her, it would be your great deed. Thank you, Your Majesty. You bow to the king gently, yet your face remains calm. A mouth curved into a confident and graceful smile is sufficient to display your charm. It really surprised me to see such a versatile lady in my palace. The king looks at you with much interest and holds Daji's hands. And your friendship as sisters impressed me as well. After you recover, I'll promote both you and Jing Yin to mistresses as assistants at my side. What is your opinion? You find this a bit funny. As what you have known about Daji, she must be very, very reluctant to hear the promise. However, she must also know the truth behind Dr. Shen's malpractice. Someone is trying to eliminate her by telling the doctor to use the wrong herbs. Therefore, she must focus on the identity of the hidden enemy, while openly befriending you first at this crucial moment. Thank you, Your Majesty. What a wise decision. An artificial smile appears on Daji's pale face as she turns to look at you. Sister Jing, your medical expertise surprised me as well. If only I could learn from you in the future. Therefore, you and Daji are both promoted to mistresses and rank higher than the numerous beauties. As for consort, the title just under queen, you feel it is no longer as impossible as before. But to you and everyone's utter astonishment, your next chance appears so soon. Alright, so we've managed to get closer to the king. We'll have to save this. So I guess several days pass and it's time to go on the next step. King's invitation.
接下来，等待你的会是什么呢？
Now you are a mistress, and your cloud resort is much more crowded than before, receiving visits from the ladies who resided in other mansions. You know these are common social activities in the palace, and you exchange gifts, greetings, and visits with them tacitly as well. Today, just after you bid goodbye to another visitor, and before you can even sit down, the royal messenger brings you an order saying the king is summoning you to Tianshuan Palace. You are a bit surprised. Though it's common for a newly promoted lady to be favored, it's not common for the king to call you to his side. It may be a prelude to much more grace, or an omen to bad things. I mean, I guess if you follow the order and go there. What happens if you say you're sick? The king was irritated by your refusal and began to neglect you out of disappointment. You were forgotten soon.
也只能到此为止了。
Aw. Nobody likes malingering. You malinger, you're a bad person. But I guess turns out you have to do it. Interesting.
接下来，等待你的会是什么呢？
You have no reason to decline the order from the king, so you put on a simple makeup and set out to Tianshuan Palace. You have been marveling at the magnificent building at its foot many times, but today is your first time being summoned here as a noble. A noble lady, Please stand up, my dear lady. A faint smile emerges on the king's stern face. It is really hot these days. Though Cloud Resort rests under the peaceful shades of trees and grasses, it cannot escape the heat. He continues before you can reply. And a royal garden is outside Tianshui City. It is a peaceful resort with plenty of arrow bamboos and limpid streams. I am planning a trip there with the queen and the concubines. Do you want to head out together? An interesting garden. It's like a park. I mean garden, yeah, it's not a park. This is an activity prepared exclusively for favored concubines, and his invitation implies a further increase in your position. Thank you, your majesty. I am glad to go with you. You nod softly. All right. The king laughs as he holds your hands. Let's prepare the carriages and set off to the bamboo garden now. Oh, right now? We're going right meow. Right? Okay. That's quite fast. We have to go out to Tianshui City. I guess we should save just in case something weird happens. Bamboo garden. Enter.
烛影婆娑，掩映在其中的
100%.
是翠绿清新的美好，还是新的危机？
The bamboos are swaying in the breeze. What's hiding in them? A verdant delight or a new crisis? This is actually a dungeon. Interesting. Let's go to the first
炎
event.
热是一种什么样的感觉？很遗憾，我并不能与你感同身受。
What does hot weather feel like? Oh, I don't know, says Mr. Fisherman, the celestial deity that lives in the sky. I don't know what hot weather feels like. Okay. I mean, you can try becoming a mortal. I mean, you know, just come down and become a mortal, right? Just feel it for a bit. Hot weather is pretty nasty. It's actually really hot right now where I'm at. Oh. Need to drink some water. Like that. some nice tea, really good. I guess hot weather just feels like you're leaking or you're melting, literally. The royal carriages roll on a bumpy road under the scorching sun. Finally, as you arrive at the garden, the disembarked ladies all look a bit awkward. And you know why. Sitting in a closed carriage on such a hot day, their beautiful robes were certainly wetted with sweat. Moistness. Yes, like that. Though you keep your mind undisturbed and are circulating the Ching-Chu spell all the way, you can hardly prevent heat. Those feeble ladies must suffer a lot in such weather. All your anxiety and ennui from the heat are dispelled instantly upon the moment you walk into the garden. The carefully tended bamboos sway in the gentle breeze. Their emerald leaves filter the sunlight into golden grains. Amid the rustling sound of the bamboo forests and the murmuring streams, you feel as if you are in a distant and pristine valley. Others are all delighted as well. The ladies take their ration of ice and go to their houses for a rest. Do you want to check the location of other ladies' houses before night? Checking the location of others? That's like a waste of energy. Are you saying, like, I'm going to get, like... Are you saying I'm gonna get stabbed? We can do it, but it might cost them. We'll see. You feel relieved as you breathe in the chilly night breeze and the gentle rustling of the leaves. As you bathe, so we go bathing. Most people would choose to put what concern themselves aside and enjoy a peaceful sleep. However, tonight the breeze is strangely chilly. An unexplainable coldness hides in it, coming from the instinct of keeping yourself on guard to survive. Darkness is approaching. The strange voice begins to speak again, and you are deeply disturbed. An impulse to check the location of others drives you out of your house. After a stroll around the place, you manage to make a map of these houses. The royal abode belongs to the king, while Queen Jiang resides in the flute villa closest to him. The two consorts are respectively in the spring villa and the stream villa, and you and Daji's houses are named Epicactus and Orchid villas. As for other ladies, their houses are in a distant quarter to the west. You are gradually calmed down during the stroll. Therefore, you go to bed after returning to your house and fall asleep soon. Oh damn, this music is kind of creepy. Let's see. Your sleep is interrupted by hurried pants and voices. Someone is talking with a lowered voice, yet you can feel the horror in their words. Then, a sudden sound comes from your window. Something broke in your house. You are only startled and wake up at once, only to be terrified by a pale and fearful face. Daji is looking at you, her beautiful face bathed in tears. "Sister Jing, help me!" The plot of bamboo bolts. You turn and sit up, but just as you are about to ask her, your door is forced open. Several strange-looking figures with sharp blades rush in. Damn, there's got some assassins here. Like... Alright, looks like we will have to do the opener. You know, I'm not sure if I like this, this auto throw. It's kind of cool, but... Anyway, whatever. Foresight applies one vulnerable when the battle begins. Oh, that was actually pretty useful. We can apply charm if we had. We're gonna re-roll, see if it gets anything. Alright, we'll just poison everyone. And then hit them. Let's see. We have a token. We can multiply this person's poison count. We can roll and see what we get. Okay, we can shield ourselves, and that would be the end of the turn. I mean, maybe I could have done something else, but I don't think it matters too much. Alright. Okay. We'll have our multi-effect hit. We'll focus our attacks on her. And we keep doing damage this way. I mean, maybe if we get... It won't do damage. I think that's the end of the turn. This is not a boss fight, so it should not be too bad. Okay, looks like we won fairly easily. I'm level 13, so I was a little bit overpowered, but anyway. You have never seen such people. Their appearance and attire are without any sway or Eastern features. Have you gotten injured, my good sister? Seeing you finish the fight, Daji rushes out from the corner she hid in before. She is asking anxiously and stroking your body, and you feel her affection is perhaps real. Wow. I mean, it's not good to trust her. You inspect Daji briefly. I don't trust Daji. We're gonna assume that she's pretending this entire time. She only wears her nightgown and is shuddering under the chilly night breeze, her arms holding tightly before her chest. It's an all too suspicious look for her, and you wonder what she's planning this time. Suddenly, the bad memory about the jade hairpin comes to your mind. You quiver at the thought and warn yourself that you shall never trust her, lest you're caught by her deadly trap. I don't know what the jade hairpin incident was. Like, it looks like I avoided it somehow, so I never got to see it. You feign a concerned look as you keep yourself on guard and are going to find a warm coat for her. No need to worry. I'm fine. You hold her face in both hands and look calmly into her eyes. But could you tell me where they came from and what happened just now? I don't know anything about them. Her eyes are full of horror. I wanted to have a cool night, and I didn't close my window before I fell asleep. However, a sudden wind woke me around midnight, and I heard screams from the spring and stream villas. I looked outside to see what happened, and I found the door of Spring Villa open. Then I saw those terrible murderers walk out, carrying a mutilated body. Daji shudders as she recalls her memories. I let out a scream before I realized the danger, but just as I was closing my window, I saw them running towards my house. So, you rushed here without even putting on a coat, right? Seeing Daji nodding quickly, a hint of fear also emerges in your mind. The two villas are the residences of the two consorts, ranked only below Queen Jiang. And why did they choose to kill them first? Is it possible that they are wandering foreigners? They came to our land before and plundered us tonight after seeing, a glorious feat of carriages? Daji speaks fearfully. No, the garden is in the suburbs, and though here is indeed less prosperous, the place is by no means a den of foreign tribes. You make a calm analysis, and these murderers are well trained and fight with fierce and lethal moves. They are not bandits, but perhaps professional assassins. Daji's eyes open wide. You feel the fearful tremble throughout her body. And if they are well planned, they won't be satisfied with just killing consorts. You rise to your feet suddenly and stride out of the door. Now we must find His Majesty and ascertain if he is safe. Vigilance. Gain 1 cleansed when the battle begins. Interesting.
危险悄然降临的背后，必定有周密的谋划。
Wow, this is very bad. You rush out from Epicactus Villa, and at first sight you notice the flame to the west where the royal abode is in. The crackling sound of burning wood, as well as the screams and yells, assault your ears. But at your side, the 4 villas to the east are all enveloped in a terrible silence. All that is left by the incidents are the footprints and the bodies of a dozen of fallen guards. Maybe they only planned a silent assassination, but it transformed into an open assault after they were exposed by your scream. You look at Daji, who is following you now. She is as fearful as before, and you guess she must have decided to keep close behind your steps. As you said before, the most important thing is to check if the king in the royal abode is safe. However, as the first scene of the incident witnessed by Daji, Spring Villa may as well have valuable clues. Go to Spring Villa for clues. Go to the royal abode for the king. Well, if we go to the... Okay. Well, we're not going to go to the king, because presumably speaking, he's not in there anymore. He's probably ran off. You see a complete mess inside Spring Villa. Jewels and fragrant sachets are scattered everywhere, and the gruesome bloodstains of torn garments tell you what happened to the consorts. Sister Jing, here! Daji speaks. She hands you a round token stained by someone's blood as you turn to her. You examine the token. It is made of unknown material and designed to have 2 parts. On the top half are 2 white stripes resting on the left and right, their shape resembling piercing lightning bolts. On the bottom half is a yellow symbol that looks much like coiling clouds. I found it under the window bar, Daji points to a spot on the ground, and I guess it was dropped there by a murderer when the person escaped from the window. Do you recognize anything? You hold the token in your hands, but before you can examine it further, a crackling sound comes from outside. Then the window is shattered into pieces as several persons emerge, with cold looks. They seem to be attracted by the token. Okay, we've got extra assassins, but these look like soldiers. We're going to get this token. Alright, we hit all of them at once. We can hit everyone. Immune to imminent debuffs for when the round begins for 1 round. That's useful. We can hit the shield guy. And then... he has the most HP. If we multiply... well, this guy is the weakest. We can poison him. We shield ourselves, and we can try and get another roll, but we might not get it. Okay, I think it's better to hit the shield guy so he doesn't cast any shields. Can we roll this? See what we get? Nope. That's the end of this turn. Round 2. Okay. It looks like this will be the end of most of them. Alright, we've eliminated 1 guy. We re-roll everything and see what we get. Okay. Alright, we've defeated all 3 rather handedly. Not a big deal, right? Cool. Got some money. We stole some money from them. However, the critical condition only makes you more vigilant. You can feel a faint yet uncontrollable bestial power growing in you with the instinct to live. You finish the fight with ease, only to notice Daji, who has been at your side all the way, has disappeared. You walk around the villa 2 times to find her, but your efforts are in vain. Though you feel something is odd, you won't allow yourself to be delayed by such an incident. You take the token into your possession and hurry to the royal abode. Alrighty.
人之所以坚持，不外乎守护重要的人，或抓牢自己的命运。
Protecting loved ones or sealing
二位
fates.
起，
That's what human beings are driven by, huh? Protection or selfishness? I mean, that seems to cover most of people. You're either selfish or not selfish, right? Haha, selfless. As you approach the royal abode, you find the building is about to collapse amid the overwhelming fierce flames and dense smoke. I see, it's already... There's a bunch of ashes blowing across the table here, so it turns out this is a very dire situation. Your eyebrows furrow as you grit your teeth. With a circulating inner breath, you shout out the king's name and run into the abode. The king's name? I don't know what the king's name is. Like, we haven't learned that yet. But I guess this character knows the whatchamacallit, the king's name. Jing Yin's breath will be impaired by dense smoke. Please remember to ensure sufficient breath here. What? This is a new mechanic, man. I don't even know what's gonna happen. Alright, you find yourself in a raging inferno. The beams and pieces of furniture are all breaking in the fire. Crack, 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 right? And just as you step into the outer pavilion, a tearing sound comes from above. A burning beam falling. Wow, so, okay, you have 2 choices that's gonna reduce your breath. If you confront the collision... I mean, running is always the best option, right? You're not gonna confront a big beam. You quicken your inner breath and make a narrow dodge. However, due to the fierce actions, you inhale lots of smoke. Okay, 30%. You rush into the inner chamber, but find the king is not here. After several shouts, you finally hear a faint voice from a corner. However, it sounds far different from the king's voice. Okay, if you save a person... So what happens if you save the person? The corners of a burning house are extremely dangerous. With a circulating inner breath as your defense, you try to get closer to the voice. Soon you find a maidservant under a broken beam. One of her arms is broken and her lower body is trapped. She is waving her left arm with much difficulty now. "I'll rescue you!" you can only shout out in the howling flames. But you fail to hear her voice again. The only response from the corner is another crackling sound above. You exert all your power and strike the falling object aside to save the maidservant from the lethal blow. However, you also suffer a lot from your moves. Oh, I won't survive. Please, don't waste your time on me. She shakes her head at your words and points in a direction with her trembling left arm. There, His Majesty, the end of the corridor. Wow. Her face turns livid black before she can finish the sentence. Her last voice soon fades away. But we got a shortcut. But we got damage taking it. Okay. A sudden sorrow strikes you at this moment. However, it's not time to shed tears for her, and you only clench your fists before dashing towards the direction she indicated. You rush down the corridor, but before you reach its end, something breaks in from the side windows. An assassin leaps down desperately, as if he'll intercept you at any cost, even if his clothes have caught fire. What? Who's crazy enough to do this? Your time is running out, and any further delay from a fight now would be unaffordable. Therefore, you decide to ignore him and quicken your steps towards the exit. Luckily, the assassin fails to estimate your speed, and his lethal strike misses. But after noticing the misjudgment, the assassin takes something out from his waist. Then, you see 2 cold glimmers darting towards you and can only dodge hastily. Unfortunately, one of the 2 blades still slits your flesh, and a piercing pain soon takes over your senses. You grit your teeth against the agony. Then you make a final stride through the gate. Now you are outside the backyard. The winding path unfolds before you and leads up, with bamboo forests at its sides. You look at the ground and find many disordered footprints following the path. The king must have passed through here. Fortunately, the path and the place behind it have not been affected by the fire. However, the assassins have followed the king there. You tear the only available clothes to bind your wounds from the fire and the fights. Then you begin to walk up the path. So there's just a bunch of wankers that are trying to intercept you.
神与人最大的区别是什么？是会痛，是会怕，是会伤怀，是会坚持。我随便说说而已。
The difference between humans and deities is that pain, persistence. Okay. Well, no pain, no gain, right? That's how it is. Your steps are made so difficult by the burns, cuts, and bruises, as well as the lungs suffered a lot in the dense smoke. The short path in the bamboo forest has never felt so long. A clank of metals rings out with fierce shouts. You quicken your pace and run to the end of the path. The king is surrounded by a squad of assassins pressing on. Though they are in the same outfit as the enemies before, you feel for some certainty that these persons are far more formidable than the killers eliminated previously. Who's behind you? The king is retreating. He presses a hand on his wound and holds his sword in the other hand as he yells to the leading assassin. Several cuts can be seen on his body as he speaks in a quivering voice, yet the nobleman is trying his best to keep calm. If I were not poisoned, you would already be smashed into ashes. He is the man chosen by the deities, and who descended on a dark bird. However, such a noteworthy origin failed to prevent him from being so disheartened as a defeated eagle. Blood flows down from his sturdy arms, tainting his dust-covered sword in a fiery red. A livid liquid is seeping out from behind his teeth, which is an apparent evidence of poison. Oh, it's like the classic coughing, like he's coughing blood kind of a thing. Anyway, let's see. We never fail on any task. The assassin leader draws out 2 blades and gestures to his subordinates to engage in the final fight, and you will probably never get the answer to your question. All of these happen in a sudden and unclear manner. But no, it shouldn't be the end. The King of Sway wouldn't end here today, nor would you, nor would your life. You howl at the enemies as you gather the last power and pounce upon them. Oh! Right, I mean, I guess I'm a fox, so I'm like, you have to do like a fox laugh. Right, like, foxes go like, I don't know how foxes sound like. I'm sorry. So we'll... Alright, we'll just have to re-roll that die, because it's kind of useless. So... Immune to special controls. Okay, concealed glow. We will eliminate the lowest HP gal. We can definitely poison everyone. We gain this. You can increase the stacks on this dude. Well, we don't have any buffs to steal. Right. Oh dear. We can re-roll. So that's... Alright, 3 yings and we don't have any way to spend them, so that's the end of the turn. Probably... Alright, I see how this is. Killing desire. We'll hit them to get more die. We will re-roll to see what we get. Get a yang. Okay, that's good. Concealed glow. We'll hit that person. We definitely want to steal this guy's buffs, because that's more useful. Yeah, let's just make his poison very high. I don't know who does more damage. Penetrating damage. Multiple damage. Alright, we'll... probably shield myself. I don't know if the token does anything. I think you can test if the token applies to the next turn, but it probably won't. I'm fairly confident. Yeah, so no, the token does not carry over to the next turn. Good to know. It looks like they just died. Wow. So I should have actually charmed her, because I wouldn't have... Okay, that's fine. We can redo the roll, see what we get. Reroll. Okay, we can attack her. I think this will be her end. Oh! She just died. What did she die to? I'm a little bit confused. Is there like a bug or something that makes me do damage without knowing? A look of utter astonishment flicks into the assassin leader's eyes. Then he collapses to the ground. His hands press on his stomach, hit by your heavy blow. And who on earth is behind this? You stamp a foot on his chest and grip his neck with your fingers, urging him to tell the truth. But he only replies to you with a cold sneer that displays vile dog-like teeth. The next moment, you see his teeth immersed in a dark liquid. The poison from the bladder hidden in his mouth claims his life. Wow, this is very dangerous poison. Like, it just instantly kills you? Like, damn, you know? I mean... like, how do you describe it? I mean... Huh. Yeah, like poison, sorry. So poison that like instantly kills you is kind of unrealistic, you know? Because poison typically takes time to get in your digestive system. Like if it gets injected in your bloodstream, sure. But if it's not, it takes time. You shudder at the- okay, whatever. You shudder at the sudden cold wind. The pain from the many wounds on your body begins to assault you, and you feel you are on the brink of exhaustion. Even your mind is thrown into utter chaos that blocks everything outside, and you can hardly stand due to fierce dizziness. Your Majesty! Sister Jing! A series of footsteps. Is Daji coming to your side? Is someone rescuing you from here? You are overwhelmed by fatigue as you relax your nerves. Only the rustling sound of the bamboo leaves echoes in the wind, announcing the end of the nightmare.
你已经在自己的路上走了很远，剩下的交给时间。
You have traveled a long way, and now you may pause here. Let time do the rest. Okay. Interesting. So this is the first half of the story. So this means that you get everyone to 50%, and then I guess there's a finale once everyone's like backstories are up to date. Kind of interesting. An interesting structure. Well, I mean, I think this was good enough for today. We'll take a look later at how every character progresses. But yeah, I think like everyone gets intertwined at some point. Jing Yin is, you know, very, very cool, I guess. Very cool abilities. They all have their own stories and backgrounds to go with. Let's see. Well, I guess I can continue with the other dude if I have time. Maybe another 15 minutes or so. We'll see what's happening. We don't know his name, though. Sea Gazer's Cliff. Interesting. He lives in the same area as that fox girl. The fox spirit in the same region, but he does start he's kind of nearby actually. But she lives on this cape a little bit, but he's right on the cliff near the ocean. Moonlit chords.
既然你选择了它，我希望你会对音律感兴趣。毕竟，故事就是从这里开始的。
You selected him. Oh. Yeah, I selected him. What of it? Huh? Okay, so he's a Guqing player, I guess. I mean, we've already encountered him in the Fox Girls thingy. So, you know, Guqing. Alrighty, let's see. I'm trying to look up some words in the Chinese dictionary. Trying to figure stuff out. Okay. The night has fallen on this land. Hills stand distant under the serene sky, basking in the chilly light of a crescent moon. A figure clad in pure white. A fair, slender finger on the icy strings of a guqing. Then it tips up the first note. A solitary melody begins. Oh, so this guy's the composer of the title song? Is that what this is? Yeah? Cool. Cool beans. Nice to meet you. The first movement is an affectionate murmur. The notes drift up into the cloud, forming a rueful, lingering strand. The melody roams in a sea of clouds, revealing a vast landscape beneath. Then, it softens to take a respite. A respite, I think. Respite? Respite? I don't actually know how to pronounce respite. This is kind of troublesome. It's actually respite. God damn it, English. Can you stop being so inconsistent? Okay. A moment later, the strings become revitalized. A joyful tune flows out, as leisurely as fog on a lake, or a stream washing down from mossed rocks. I hope leisurely is pronounced correctly, too. It's leisurely? Okay. Soon, it brightens up into a glowing daylight, or a pure orchid under an azure sky. Occasional chirp notes punctuate its turns, like glimmers in a gentle, boundless mist. The melody then dims down as if it has returned from the clouds. Soft, caressing notes glide between the strings, merging into a faint sigh. This is where all the translation budget has went, huh? As for this guy. He must be special. The game devs translate— oh, the music is different. I'm kind of listening to it. Yeah, it's quite different tone. Suddenly, the strings quiver with a forte, bringing with it a blade that splits lands and rivers and cuts into stones with unstoppable momentum. The tune quickens into a tempest, overwhelming all in its fierce beats. Yes, electric guitar in the era of— I don't even know. This ancient era, those electric guitars bringing back. Well, I mean, if you're like a demi-human deity god thing, you can play whatever you want, you know? You're not limited by time or space. Notes pour down in torrents. The clop of war horses, the fluttering sound of standards, and the clang of metals. The sky trembles above the battlefield. The majestic march advances. The strings dance under nimble fingers. The figure and the guqing seem to be one under the moon, a facet of eternity. However, the music suddenly stops. The soaring melody falls into a devouring, unfathomable abyss. Alright, this is a little overwritten, but I get it. You know, he hurt his fingers. He started bleeding from playing way too much. Your fingertip stings. A crimson flower blooms on the instrument in an instant. Its fiery glow makes you feel dizzy.
看样子似乎是个关心你的人呢。
Are you alright? A crisp voice comes from the tree above you. How could you get injured from practicing guqing alone? Whoa, you can be a little harsh or you can be a little reasonable. Alright, well, I made careless moves. Alas, a swift landing. Has the girl sighed just now? The familiar fiery figure comes to you. There seems to be an untold feeling in her crisp voice. Father said the night is cold. He's afraid for your health, so he asked me to find you here. Seeing you did not reply, she became silent too. She bends down to bind up your hand, but the moment she touches your wound, an unknown sorrow spreads in your body with an odd pain. Your sight becomes blurred, and your body begins to sway. Brother Chi! The crimson flower is expanding, and you hear her last call before you fall down. You are then held by a pair of mighty hands, and the gentle arms and the soft chest are your last memory of that moment. Chi. Oh, his name is Bai Chi. Okay, Bai Chi. Nice to meet you. So you practiced so hard, you started bleeding, and then I guess you're like anemic because your blood loss is just too much for you. I'm sorry for your loss. I guess it's time to wake up in this area. Oh, this is not the same place as the Fox Girls region. Interesting. You know, I'm curious if the money... Did the money I earned with the other character come back here? Like, is this my money as in, like, me, the player, and not the character's money? That's kind of interesting. I guess this money stands for karma. Quill Palace are gonna return back home and wake up in a bed. Nice.
总算该醒过来了吧？晕倒在女人怀里的家伙。
Oh my god, are you making fun of me, Mr. Fisherman? Like, yeah, shut up. I'm gonna knock your hat off, man. Well, there's nothing wrong with, you know... Yeah, shut up. I'm gonna tell you to shut up, man. There's nothing wrong with waking up in someone else's arms, come on. The scent of anise drives off the insects as well as your last sleepiness. You raise your heavy head from the bed and recognize your room with a half-sober mind. The scent drifts out from a copper censer in the corner, and your memory gradually emerges. Oh. Memory of your sister. Baiji was your playmate when you were kids. However, your difference in strength began to emerge then, and you could never forget her questioning eyes after she came back from an expedition for the first time, riding on a fierce horse with her bow. Your mother glimpsed you in disdain and turned to her daughter with a broad smile. Your brother, a born weakling, can never do this. She spoke with blatant despisal. You should inherit your father's skill and position, and you must not be a loser like him. Oh my god. Got a tiger mom. Is mom like the mother, like the godmother, right? Is that who she is? Baiji remembered her brother's fragility from then on. Though she didn't mock you as your mother did, her condescending care was even more bitter. She is the pride of White Quill. Your mother would have already made her the heiress apparent, if not for the daughter's female identity. Oh, okay, it's another patriarchal society where only guys can hold positions of importance, I see. Today marks the beginning of Baiji's adulthood, and on this day, your parents and clan members will betroth her to her future husband. According to the clan rules, she will marry you today. What? Oh my god. Okay, I'm getting married to my sister. Wow, that's awkward. Yes, my golden child sister who does better than me in every academic metric, okay. Do you like her? You shake your head at the thought. She is mightier and more favored, and you always envy her. You two have helped each other these years and could mutually understand to some degree. However, is this what love means? Is this romantic love? You don't know the answer, but you have a faint feeling that such a proud girl certainly wouldn't agree to marry you. Okay, that's awkward. This is where inbreeding happens. Alright, let's remember your past. Your name is Baichi, and you are called the worst heir from your birth. In White Quill State, boys learn archery when they are 6 and will be capable warriors up to 10. However, your feeble physique wouldn't allow you to draw a bow full at 16. Besides, you will faint whenever you see blood. Such an odd illness puts an end to your warrior's career before it even starts. Oh man, you've got a weak stomach. Your father is the king of White Quill. He fought for half of his life and made the state the peer to the other 3 states. Qingqiu, Blackteeth, and Shibishi. I don't know how to pronounce this, man. It's weird. Shibishi. In the east. However, people mock you as they see the heir apparent's fragility. Your younger sister, Baiji, inherits all of your father's martial talents. She learned archery at 5 and mastered it at 6. When she was 8, she could hunt animals on horseback with unparalleled stamina and precision. You always think that your father's successor should have been her instead of you. However, your fates have been stipulated by an ancestral dogma, saying the heir of the Sun Shooter's archery shall only be male. Whenever you recall it, you could only go to the Sea Gazer's cliff with the Guqing, a gift from your father for a moment of respite. In contrast to your weak physique, your musical talent is peerless. Your seemingly feeble hands will always weave notes into glorious melodies once you touch the strings. Memory of the White Quill. The White Quill. Different from the other 3 states, White Quill derives from Yi's pure blood. It is the only state that picks clan members as spouses now, while the lineages of the other 3 states have been tainted after centuries of intermarrying. According to the rule, you will marry your sister and ascend to the throne of White Quill, just as your father and mother did. Oh my god. However, you two seem to have been born into the wrong bodies. You often imagine life with your sister being a male. Will he take the burden of an heir from you so you can play Guqing all day? Fortunately, your father never treated you harshly, although people mock you. Whenever you get injured from practicing martial arts, he will tend your wounds and bind them up. Your hope for being a warrior finally died out at 18, but it did not let your father down. He only gifted you a Guqing and a book of music scores, wishing you find solace in his past friends' belongings. You felt a warm and familiar vibe the first time you sounded it, to the extent that you nearly shed tears, and the music and the book also inspired you to practice music.
记忆是私人的造物，希望你不会因为拥有它而感到负担。
Memories are inspirations, but they can also be burdens. I guess that's true. The past torrents back into your mind, and as you embrace them in silence, as when you see yourself in other people's eyes, you stand up with some effort and walk to the desk nearby, where your Guqing, War-worn, rests. Oh, the Guqing has a name. His name War-worn. Though your body doesn't allow you to practice archery and martial arts, your musical talent is peerless. Peerless talent. Yes. I feel like this is like such a common adjective. You know, it's like a meme, right? Peerless. Oh my god. You won't hear it too much in Western, in the Western culture, comparing yourself to other people's, Comparison's the thief of joy. You're not gonna always be peerless this, peerless that. Like, that's just kind of pointless, you know? Gotta be unique and shine on your own. But here, it's, you know, you're always getting compared. It's Asian culture. Comparison is the baseline of everything. The guqing shares your temper, and you can even condense its sounds into arrows and blasts whenever you immerse yourself in melody. This technique comes from the vintage book, The 10 Tunes of Jing Yin. Stir the strings. Battle bard, let's go. You stir the strings with gentle moves, and its familiar and consoling notes calm you down. You sigh deeply and step out, holding your guqing in your arms. Today is your sister's big day, and the guests must have been waiting in the hall for a long time. Find your father. Oh my god, this father looks scary. Got like big ass eyebrows and red hair. I guess he's a redhead. Interesting. Your father is in the main seat inside the Quill Palace, and there are several strangers in the hall talking to him. Your mother is also here. She wears a familiar and artificial expression as she smiles fondly at her husband or the guests around. You feel that the meeting is probably facilitated by her. And Baiji stands at their side, casting cold glances at the persons in the hall. You know that face, a sign of reluctance when she must do things she is not interested in. A man is among the guests. He is of your similar age, but his build is strong and his skin strangely white. He looks with sharp eyes and speaks with confidence, and he glimpses at Baiji occasionally.
为人黑齿，食道淡舌，想必这就是黑齿一族了。
The black teeth people. 黑齿. Okay. They eat rice and snakes already. Interesting. He smiles. His black teeth look a bit gruesome in the background of his clearly white skin. What lies between his teeth may be the entrance to a hell that will devour beings alive. Well, since I'm a man, I gotta be active, right? Greet your father actively. You know what this day means to Baiji, and seeing the strangers appearing here and the man's meaningful look, you have an idea of what will happen. But today's highlight should belong to you, so you clear your throat to remind others of your presence. Oh wow, it's like, by the way, I'm an important person. However, nobody except for Baiji cares whether you're here. They continue their talk, while Baiji winks you to come closer. Her look is familiar, but this time you see something odd in it. Xiongyi is our tribe's hero, an excellent fighter as well as a master commander. He fought 20 battles against the Sui army and was never defeated. A middle-aged man with black teeth talks to your father smilingly. I have heard of Princess Baiji's prowess, and if the two could enter into a marriage, their tie will surely bind our states tighter. Xiongyi. Okay. Xiong? I think is that like a bear? It's like a bear or something. I don't know what his name is. Please be modest, Uncle Ming. The young man grins. The king of White Quill is the descendant of Yi the Great and is blessed with incredible power. Everyone in the East knows of your bravery, and my meager skill can never be placed on par with yours. Seeing your father's face softened, he continues. I saw Baiji several times in hunting and admired her sharp figure. Therefore, after asking my father's permission, I came here for a marriage proposal. I believe it will benefit both of us. Your father speaks with indifference. We, the White Quills, are the pure blood of Yi the Great. We only marry our clan members.
血亲婚配，危险的规则。说实话，你那位妹妹可不像能做你妻子的样子。
Oh my god, my sister's my younger sister? I have to marry a younger sister? Okay, whatever. Our clan rule regards such a marriage as a heavenly glory. My daughter, Baiji, reaches adulthood this day, and her only husband will be her brother, Baichi. Now, the Blackteeths propose to marry her, and I wonder what you are planning behind it. The guests hurry to explain as they see your father's stern face. We have planned the marriage for a long time. The young man grins modestly. And we find this will be a bliss to our states, and even to the east. Here are my explanations. We face the same enemy. The great Sui craves the east and wages warfare against the land frequently. However, the other two states, Qingqiu and Shibushi, behave ambiguously. Xiongyi speaks solemnly. In my eyes, they still hope to pacify the enemy instead of fighting in a decisive battle. What is your opinion? Your father does not reply. He only nods at the man's words. Xiongyi continues. So, our two states are the most likely to form an alliance. After we are connected by marriage, we could suppress other tribes and unify the East, as Yi the Great once did. Then we could build a formidable army and march west to drive off the Sui troops. This is our first goal. So, you want our two states to fight together and annex Qingqiu and Shibushi. Your father frowns. Qingqiu only feigns to fight. As I know, those foxes are about to pick a chosen vixen as a gift to the king of Sui, as proof of deference. We shouldn't allow such a treacherous state to exist. Oh yeah, that's the other character's storyline, is being a bride. Right, a political marriage is pretty useful, I guess? You know? Anyway, as for the Shibushi people, they are only malformed monsters. They stay in their territory all day and are obsessed with studying poisons and alchemy. It's a pity to see such a cowardly state as the most formidable poisons in the world. Your father does not express any opinion. Go on. Now let me explain the second goal. We know your people, as the successors to Yi the Great and his archery, allow only marriages among relatives. Xiongyi lowers his voice with an odd expression. But my father said that your state's population is declining. Young white quills are mostly born with serious illnesses, while such a condition is rare from the other tribes. He eyes your father with caution. So, I come here on behalf of my father to suggest you abolish the outdated rule and make your people flourish. And I hope the first one engaging in new marriages could be Xiongyi myself.
他口中的两个目的都与情爱无关，真遗憾，我以为爱情是人类独有的美好。
I guess you have a point, Mr. Fisherman. He's not really motivated by love whatsoever. Are marriage between humans? Love even a thing? Who knows? You notice your father's expression has changed several times. He would be rebutting those words in the past, but now he only begins to frown as if lost in thought. Explain first. Damn, the music's changed. Though, you said you come for our states and for the people in the East, but have you considered my sister? Even once? Your sudden question draws everyone's eyes, and you notice a glimmer shines through Baiji's eyes. If you want to marry Baiji out of your haughty goals, then you only treat her as a tool. You look into Xiongyi's eyes. Her prowess outmatches every ordinary man in the East, and if your marriage proposal is not from admiration and responsibility, you shouldn't have come here at all. Dizziness comes with your shout. The people around you seem to be held by your words, and the hall is silent. You see your father glances at you approvingly, and his knitted brows ease.
痛恨和怨毒的恶言，无异于利刃加身。
Words soaked in spite cut further than a blade. When did you come here, sick being? Your astonished mother begins to vent her rage. I pick a husband for my girl? And how dare you, a coward who faints on sight of blood, say anything? You read disdain and hatred from her face. Your birth seems to be her greatest humiliation, while her excellent daughter, Baiji, consoles all her sorrows. Even hearing you mention her would be an insult to the woman. You stay silent or make a retort? I mean, it's hard, right? It's like, do you love the sister or do you retort to your mother? I mean, insulting your mother is not a good look. You cast a cold glance at her without a word. After all, she is a pitiful woman who has given up her values and emotions to others' judgments. Your silence and indifferent glance foment her rage. Mind you, her eyes glare with embarrassment and anger. But your father interrupts her before she can speak. Shut up. He looks displeased. Stop making a scene on a solemn occasion. My son is right. The marriage of my daughter is never a trade. Your father looks to Baiji. Today, you grow into an adult, a capable princess. I'll let you decide who will marry you. Your mother seems flustered. She tugs at your father's robes. Baijian, it's a breach of the rules. She's my daughter. She mastered archery at 6 and became a champion rider at 8, holding all of our soldiers in awe. Father's resolute voice rings out. And if such a heroine betrayed it into a marriage like a vixen from Qingshu, it would be a shame we'll never hear the end of. Again, I said I'll let her decide. His eyes are burning with a majestic will. Anyone who disagrees can get out. Everyone's eyes are now on Baiji. Her eyes are brisk and sharp, her slender figure shaped by numerous fights. She's no longer the childish young girl you've remembered. You lost me 2 deer and 1 wolf in the last hunt. Baiji looks at Xiongyi with pride. I won't marry a man who is inferior to me. A slight displeasure flits on Xiongyi's face before he replies with a smile. But a hunt is not a fight. The former is a recreation, while the latter a life-or-death duel. It would only be unfair if you judge me only from hunting. Huh. A life-or-death duel? Talking big. Now prove yourself to me. With a sneer, Baiji dashes out toward the black-teethed man's face with her dagger drawn out. Xiongyi's pupils shrink. Baiji is not kidding. Her move in such a close space leaves him nearly no room to dodge. Now he must fight with the same fierce technique, or he will end up dead.
战场对敌，以伤搏命。他确实有些本事。
Deliver a deadly strike at the cost of being wounded. No time for thoughts. A cold sheen sparks in his sleeve as he lowers his body and charges toward his enemy's legs. He risks being wounded by making this move, but he will probably maim his opponent if he hits. Baiji leaps out into the air, and as Xiongyi bends down, she kicks his shoulders and makes them her springboard. She lands with a somersault, all her moves finished in an instant.
嘿呀，好身手！我可是越来越欣赏你这位妹妹了。
Oh, now you have eyes on my sister. That's not great, but okay. I just assume that you have no interest. I mean, the Mr. Fishman is just like making comments, man. He's just watching. He's having fun. Seeing his attack will miss, Xiongyi begins to restrain his momentum in a hurry. However, he is still staggered by Baiji's kicks and can only balance again after some awkward steps. You perceive a gruesome spark in his eyes, but it vanishes in an instant. What a life-or-death duel! Baiji casts a disdainful glance on him and turns to her father. You allow me to decide my marriage, and I will only allow myself to marry a true fighter. I don't care if he is a blood relative or is with a pure white quill. Baiji's eyes seem to be running over you as she announces, I believe there must be a man that can defeat me in the East, and he will be my husband. It's the decision she makes. You grin at her words. You know who she is. She won't marry a man designated by others, whether he is you or someone else. She will pick one for herself. Great, that's my daughter's style, your father laughs. We have a tournament every year, and the next one will open after 3 days. At that time, the champions from all tribes will compete in the arena. And this year, the winners will challenge Baiji, the one who emerges victorious in the final fight shall be her husband. Your father raises to Baiji. Do you agree? All right. Thank you for allowing this. Baiji nods with a bright smile. My daughter is brave. Yes, she may be hot-headed on some occasions. Please, pardon her. Your father says to the Blackteeths, "You are noble guests, so I'll accommodate you in the capital city and treat you all accordingly." No need to say that. Baiji is indeed peerless, and I should say sorry for my behavior. I should apologize for my behavior. Xiongyi grins leisurely, as if nothing has happened. However, I won't let my second chance slip. See you all 3 days later. He bows briefly to the host and talks to other Blackteeths in a low voice. Then they leave the hall. The guests have left, and your father nods to you to come closer. So I can talk to Baiji. I'm not going to talk to father. What? Baiji smiles brightly upon seeing you walk towards her. He seems to be in a high mood. Thanks for looking out for me, brother. She looks at you and continues with sincerity. I can feel that you were indeed considering me at that moment. I only felt that the man does not actually love you. You nod to her with a warm smile. Does not actually like you. And your marriage shouldn't be arranged to gain profits. Thank you, my good brother. She hits your shoulder joyfully. You are different from all the other men. I am different. You grin helplessly. She declined to marry you in the end, but you do not mind that. Knowing you are special in her eyes is enough. The tournament. I'm sorry, Brother Chi. I won't accept an arranged marriage. She shakes her head and bites her lips, but her eyes are resolute. I hope my husband could be at least as powerful as me. We would stand together and bring White Quill a promising future.
不管你怎么想，我还蛮喜欢他的。
I became a capable warrior before I was 10, and I hope my husband can be as good as me in the skills I am proud of. Her voice is very slight, as if she fears what effect her words will produce. Brother Chi, could we continue to be brother and sister? I'll just nod. What could you say to her words? You two are and will forever be brother and sister. She heaves a deep sigh and smiles again. See me beat them up 3 days later. We could talk to the mother. We'll just observe her. Talk. The day has finally come. Your mother eyes you with a strange frenzy. Stop feigning a greet, you bastard. You are shocked by her look. Such a vile curse. Is the woman before you really your mother? The bastard? Kind of new information. I won't give birth to such a thing like you. She speaks with much spite. Baijian knows best what he has done. Only Baiji deserves the crown of the White Quills, and you a bastard from birth to death. Ask your father if you want to know why, and see if he dares to tell you. Oh, so this is not actually my mother. This is like a stepmother. Interesting. I can see. She doesn't like me because I don't come from her womb, I guess. You walk to him, father. Your father pats your shoulder. His broad and warm hand reassures you. Talk. Are you feeling better now? He asks with concern. Thanks for your care. I had blood sickness just as before, and now I have recovered. Your father nods as he looks at your guqing. Every musical instrument needs maintenance. I have fixed Warworn's broken string, and you should pay attention to its condition more often. I know. Thanks for your advice. You feel moved by his words and want to speak something to him. However, you don't know where to begin and could only nod solemnly. Alas, 20 years have passed. Your father's hand glides on the guqing's surface, and his eyes are brimmed with an unknown softness. The marriage of pure bloods.
故事时间到了。
Time to tell a story if I'm right. Yi the Great established the tribes and established the state of 10 sons, which was the ancestor of the people in the east. After Yi passed away, the east fell into chaos as the tribes formed their own states, and the Huasha tribe from the central plains also invaded us. At this moment, the White Quill ancestors allied with the other 3 tribes, Shubishi, Qingchu, and Blackteeth, and drove off invaders with their unparalleled archery while putting an end to the fighting among tribes. From then, our 4 states ruled the East together. We had conflicts with the Huasha people in those centuries, but they never launched large-scale assaults again. He sighs. Our ancestor bestowed us Sunshooter's archery, but it must be inherited with Yi's pure blood. And the Blackteeths got the point. He continues after some hesitation. Our population is indeed decreasing in these centuries, while the other 3 are all flourishing. Though I hate to think of it, but it must be due to our pure-blood marriages. In fact, there were 5 other brothers before you and Baiji. His expression is odd. You can't tell whether it's a symbol of disdain or sympathy. Your eyes widen. You have been told that you 2 are the only children of your parents, and you have never thought of any other siblings. Why have I never heard of this? As royal members, there are many things that we couldn't decide on our own. He heaves a deep sigh. So, not knowing something may as well be a blessing. I hope you, as well as your sister, can enjoy such a blessing and achieve the goals set on what you have known. His expression softens. So let her make her own decision. I believe the fittest man for her will emerge on the tournament. The tournament. This is a trial of blood and fire. The grandest gathering for all martial talents in our land, and only the strongest can win it. Your father pauses. I never allowed you to fight in it since your physique is weak. However, you may watch it this year since your sister's husband will be the last winner. His tone becomes serious. I decided the matter just now, and our people haven't known it yet. Now bring me some men with you and disseminate the news in our state to invite more mighty fighters. You want to say something, but you only fall silent as you see his resolute eyes. Then you nod to his request. No need to tell it to everyone. Find their leaders in different places and inform them. Then they will pass on the news. Your father reminds you as he is about to leave. Okay. We will just be messengers for this then. I assume we don't have to do too much. This is gonna be a lot of talking. Okay, well I think this is enough for this session, since it kind of like, we have Baichi's different items. Guess we can put on the bamboo shoes. We don't know what his skills are quite yet. Do. La. Mi. So. Multi-target. Interesting. This character seems to have a lot of notes and skills. I mean, it's probably going to be a little bit more theoretical to get used to his abilities, so we'll try this tomorrow. Right now I'm a little bit tired, but if you were watching, thanks for watching, and I'm signing off. Goodbye.